Constitutional Review Committee, Patakile Holomisa, says the Congress is shocked to the public utterances by the Abu Tengu King, Kinedarinyabo, against President Jacob Zuma. He says this could undermine both the offices of the President and of King Alem Debu in the eyes of the public. Mercedes Besent reports.
King Dalindyebo has launched a scathing personal attack on the president over the last few days. Ngozi Holomisa says, while the king may have issues with the president, his public outbursts cannot be justified.
We don't believe that is the language that should come from our king, especially directed at the president of the republic, because these are two important offices, the office of the president and the office of the king.
He says as contralesa, they would have preferred these concerns to be raised in a dignified manner and to follow protocol, instead of making utterances which he says could undermine the office of the president and that of the Abatembu monarch.
President Zuma's added his voice in congratulating former Deputy President Phumzile Mlambo-Ngcuka on being appointed as the Executive Director of the United Nations Entity for Gender Equality and Empowerment of Women. She replaces Michelle Bachelet, a former president of Chile who stepped down a few months ago. In a statement, President Zuma described Mlambo-Ngcuka's appointment as recognition of her contribution to the advancement of women in South Africa and in global affairs. South African Airways management says it hopes the workers will accept their revised wage offer of 6.5%. Workers are demanding 7.5%. The strike action intended for today has been averted for now after the new offer. SAA spokesperson Hladi.
There was willingness on the part of the unions to take back that revised offer to their constituencies, where we expect that they will obtain a fresh mandate and come back to us so that we find out whether the revised offer is acceptable to them or not. So, in other words, essentially the strike has been suspended up until we know, when we get feedback from the unions, as to whether it has been permanently abandoned or they intend to go back on strike or to start striking as of tomorrow.
Metro rail services between Germiston and Johannesburg are back to normal. Trains that experienced delays of up to 2 hours. A bakkie travelling from Boksburg towards Germiston on Gauteng's East Rand fell from a bridge onto the rail tracks, causing serious damage and leading to the closure of 2 railway lines. Metro Rail's Tony Gomez.
Metro is pleased to announce that the train service between Night Station and Ravensklip now running normally. We have managed to repair all the damaged wire, and now we are ready to provide afternoon peak. So trains are running normally. There is no longer the delays that we experienced this morning.
Thousands of municipal workers and teachers have rallied in central Athens in protest at the Greek government's plans to drastically cut public sector jobs. Municipal workers and teachers are demonstrating against their inclusion in a government bill to reduce the number of civil servants. This is in order to meet criteria for the country to continue receiving vital funds from international lenders. The St. Petersburg Ballet Theatre has dedicated its tour of the internationally acclaimed ballet Swan Lake to former President Nelson Mandela. The productions officially opened at Monte Cassino's Teatro, north of Johannesburg. Melanie Moses reports.
It's been 6 years since the St. Petersburg Ballet Theatre toured South Africa. They're now back with a classic production of one of the world's most famous ballets. The 4-act production of Swan Lake is backed by a live orchestra and features traditional Russian ballet. It tells the story of a prince who falls in love with a woman who's been transformed into a swan by a sorcerer. The spell can only be broken by a man's undying love. The tour runs for 3 weeks with the final curtain call on July 27th.
Top story: the President of the Congress of Traditional Leaders and Parliament's chairperson on the Constitutional Review Committee says the Congress is shocked to the public utterances by the Abu Tembu King against President Jacob Zuma.